enemy, a common enemy rather,
right,
can actually bring together people, and that's what happened in the independence struggle as well.
That's right.
But going on the same note of how people identify themselves now, it's very different. Say for example in Sri Lanka, a Buddhist in Sri Lanka might feel that they belong to the majority.
That's right.
But once they travel abroad, this might not be the case.
That's right.
And for someone who in another region in Sri Lanka might feel that they are in a minority.
That's
but
right.
this might change when they go to different parts of the world.
That's right. Yeah, this is very interesting. Now, I mean, no, in many Asian and African countries, they have particular religions and philosophies. I mean, no, they are the majority in their own country. We'll call it home country.
Yes.
But once they have a shift in identity to a host country, I mean, they become a minority. But on the other hand, if you take certain other identities like Muslims and Christians, in their own country they may be a minority. But when they have a shift, they belong to a kind of that if they even don't belong that to a majority identity religiously, but as culturally they belong to a majority identity.
Yeah.
I mean, that this affect their that identity making in a very big way, and their behavior, how they sort of relate to other people. Now, this is what I have discussed in this book. Yeah.
Okay, and also talking about from a sociological point of view, how important is it, do you think, or do you think this is a positive or a negative thing that people identify themselves with their religion and ethnicity? I mean, this can be probably this has been the root cause of wars for many years over the history pages as well. But then, is this something that people can actually come together and accept that they're different? It's kind of a theory of diversity and become unified in that diversity.
Yeah, this is like that asking whether a knife is good or bad. You see, I mean, if you prepare a meal with a knife, it's good. Yeah. But if you try to kill a person, it's bad. I mean, these are like this. Now, whether we like it or not, we belong to identities. They know that to live as effective entities, we have to use our identities. Because we are cultural beings, no?
Yes.
Therefore, it is up to the human beings, the communities, to use these two identities, especially ethnicity and religion, positively or negatively. It is up to you. I mean, again, that these things are coupled with their profession and, I mean, all the sort of feelings and experiences that they bring in, their education and all that. No? Therefore, it's very difficult to say it's good or bad.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess it's a bit of a paradox. That's because, right. On one side you do have the beauty of it in being diverse, but also this can be the root cause, as I mentioned earlier, of problems as well.
Right.
Now, Father, talking specifically about you and your work, if you'd just like to describe some of your work relating to this, and this is not the only book you've published, you've written to many journals as well. We'd just like to know a bit more about yourself in terms of your academic career.
Yeah, I mean, that I started my life doing engineering, as I told you, mechanical engineering. But then that when I was doing my finals in that engineering studies, I offered myself a ministry, and then that I came into academic field. First of all, for 4 or 5 years I did pastoral work, but then I was sent to a seminary. I mean, in the seminary, when you have formation of priests, there's a section called religion and society, where you analyze social structures and all that. I have been teaching that area, little bit of applied theology and modern secular movements and all that. They know that at some stage that I became really interested in this area, especially when I was in Mathura. It was early 90s.
Right.
How ethnicity affects people. And also that then I started reading on the whole subject. That then I realized that there are various categories. I mean, for certain religions, ethnicity is the foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're more or less the same.
Exactly.
And it's not, you can't really divide that from another.
Yeah. That's right. Now, especially if you take Jews and Muslims, it's intertwined. You can't separate one from the other. And for certain, that if you take denominations like Dutch Reformed Church or Russian Orthodox Church, I mean, you can't talk about that church without the ethnicity.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you come to Sri Lanka, that when you talk about Christians in Sri Lanka, I mean, that you get Burgher Christians and Eurasian Christians and Sinhala Christians and Tamil Christians. For them, ethnicity is not that important. Therefore, it is not that tied up with ethnicity. But if you take that, this is not to create any tension, but if you take Buddhist and Hindus, that their identities are tied up with Tamil identity and Buddhist identity, that Sinhala Buddhist, I mean, all those things have roots in that colonialism.
Right.
Because that there were Tamil Buddhists in Sri Lanka. But later, some or other, that these things are tied up with particular ethnicity. And I mean, that if you come out of Sri Lankan situation, if you go to the Middle East, I mean, know that Jews and Muslims, if you go to African countries, I mean, this has become a big issue in many countries. That's how I got interested in the whole area. Then I started doing research. I did some research in Lund University also. It is also published. And then now I got this opportunity to go to England and do this research, and also I have published a number of journal articles.
Yeah. And also, I'd just like to ask you, you've also been a lecturer at the Theological College, and also a principal of the Deaf School. If you'd just like to talk a bit about that, there was recently a stamp also released commemorating the Braille language and the inception of it. If you'd just like to talk about your experience in that from a sociological point of view.
Yeah, now I mean, know that from 3rd of January, appoint a new principal. I am not the principal of the Deaf School now.
Okay,
yeah, and I must be very clear on that. But still, I support the school. No, last year was our centenary.
Right.
You see that, I mean, they are not that the whole issue of not differently able people. Now, we don't use the word disabled. No, I mean, they are differently able. I mean, they have a lot of abilities. I mean, they are now, we celebrate centenary and know that, I mean, we have been working hard not to bring them into that mainstream. How can we bring them mainstream and know that, allow them to know that live as ordinary citizens in the country. I mean, all of us have weaknesses and strengths, no? Exactly. But they know that some or other know that we have been taught to look at these people as that, I really don't like this word, that unfortunate people. No, less fortunate people.
More or less a condescending view on them, and I guess that's not really the case, because sometimes, especially in arts, in singing, and sometimes in drama and all that, they are far more skilled than most of us, and it's actually nice to see some of the work that they do as well.
That's right, yeah.
So I'm just trying to, before we wrap up, one of the key factors, as you see, in preventing them from fully integrating with society. What do you see them as?
Yeah, I know that especially in countries like Sri Lanka, especially in Asian countries, know that we have this whole issue of cause and effect. No, I mean, we think that they have been born like that because of the sins of their parents or something like that. No, I mean, know that if we can come out of that, I think we'll be in a better position to help them. And also that the whole issue of sympathy, we don't empathize with them, we sympathize, Ayo, pau, ayo, sin, like that kind of thing, I mean, what they want is our love and concern, and to know that, give them a helping hand to come up, not just that sympathy and just give them something, from top to bottom, give them something, and what they want is that to accept them as ordinary citizens and help them to know that live as ordinary citizens.
Okay, exactly. And that, I guess, was one of the main things. It's interesting that you mentioned it. It shouldn't be a top to bottom thing, but it should be where we empathize with them and come into their society and actually realize some of the key issues they have and try and help out in that. So religion and identity, that's the main topic, or rather the main concept which has been discussed today with Reverend Kirtisiri. Unfortunately, we do need to wrap up because of time restrictions, but don't go anywhere. Thank you so much, Father, for coming to the studios. And for our viewers, I have to say, don't go anywhere, because we've got some clips that you'll definitely enjoy of some of the shows that are coming up, and that's been happening on MTV Sports. So stay tuned to Good Morning Sri Lanka.
Thank you.